Hey, what's up, everyone? This is SnackBox. Guys, today we are going to talk about my Chimera team that I used for Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare this week. And I actually got a decent amount of trials for Nightmare, but also a very good amount of damage, 188 million damage, 14 trials with Harima as my main damage dealer, paired with Lady Mikage, of course, very strong. Basically similar to what I use with Ninja, or very much the same to what I use with Ninja, just that I swapped out Ninja with Harima because now we have the Force affinity in the Chimera clan boss. So yeah, let's talk about the setup here real quick. So Arbais is in my fastest speed gear, basically. Didn't change anything about her. I got Lydia in a 9-piece feral set as always. Also Lady Mikage in Merciless, 4-piece Merciless set and a Relentless set. Then Siphi in a 9-piece protection set as always. And then Harima has a lethal set. One piece of pinpoint accessories, I think it's a pinpoint banner for additional accuracy. Then I have a Slayer amulet to get that crit rate up. She just needed that extra 5% crit rate to hit the 100%, and I got that through that, Slayer accessory. And then I have one speed set on her to get her speed up. And yeah, if I could change something about this team, I would probably start with the blessings. I would give Harima Nature's Wrath, Lady Mikage Cruelty, and that way I could push the damage easily over 200 million damage. The only reason I didn't do this is because I use both champions in the arena a lot, and those blessings wouldn't help that much in the arena. But yeah, Cruelty for Lady Mikage I think makes the most sense because Lady Mikage does hit the Chimera very often with the extra turns, the ally attack, the A1s, and all of her skills are basically a hit. So I think it would make the most sense on Lady Mikage to get the death down as fast as possible. And then Nature's Wrath on Harima is so strong, extra 15% damage, that will be pretty significant. So yeah, here I used the Cat's Gaze on Harima. Let me show you the difference real quick. And here I used the Erratic Coronet on Harima, but this is Ultra Nightmare. Quite interesting because it's harder to do more damage to Ultra Nightmare than, on the Nightmare difficulty, obviously. So this is definitely proof for, that the Erratic Coronet will outperform the Cat's Gaze easily. Now, if you look at the trials, I couldn't complete as many trials on Ultra Nightmare because the thresholds are just different, right? You need more debuffs, you need to do more damage and stuff like that. And I couldn't quite do it. I mean, technically, theoretically, if you change some things, you could probably also get like around 14, 15 trials on Ultra Nightmare, but I just couldn't do it with the gear I have. My gear is just not good enough, right? I think if I would want to improve my trials on Ultra Nightmare, I would definitely have to dedicate, all the blessings to Chimera and maybe change some gear around, get more cooldown refreshes and stuff like that. And then maybe I could complete more trials, but I don't want to fully dedicate to Chimera because I really enjoy arena and I want to perform in there as well. So, but that's basically the main reason why I kept those blessings and I'm not changing too much, right? So yeah, if I would have used the Erratic Coronet here on Harima and also changed the blessing to Nature's Wrath and Lady Mikage's Sheep to Cruelty, I would easily hit the 200 million damage. I'm very convinced that would be very easy to do. Also, I almost completed 15 trials here on Nightmare, but we will actually talk about it when we take a look at the run. I got the run recorded. So yeah, let's jump to the run so you can see this team in action and have a better picture of what I'm talking about. So there we go. So what I really like about this team is the synergy between Arbais and Lady Mikage. And the reason why I am saying this is because Arbais can increase the buff duration, Lady Mikage can do it as well, and also both of them can decrease their cooldowns, so that way you can kind of keep your protected buffs up way longer than usual and maximize your damage. So that works very, very well. Also, you only have to be in the second form of Arbais to place the decreased speed once, because you can extend the debuffs with Lady Mikage. And yeah, she takes so many turns and decreases her cooldown so often that you don't have to swap back with Arbais because you keep extending the debuffs. And yeah, pretty amazing, to be honest. I really love this synergy between those two champions. And then you also have the synergy, obviously, with Lady Mikage and Harima. To be honest, I kind of like prefer Harima because you know, she brings that decrease attack. In the other team where I would use Ninja for the other affinities, I kind of have to bring another champion that would you know, do decrease attack, and I would have to swap out Arbais for Nekmotar, for example. But here I can basically use Arbais because Harima is bringing that decrease attack. Also, I'm not losing any other debuffs, right? Arbais has the HP burns, Lydia can place the decreased defense. So basically everything that Ninja does, I do have in this team. So that's pretty amazing to me, and that's why I basically like Harima more. Also, she's death based, which makes her survive easier, right? She's not that easy to kill, where Ninja just gets wrecked if the Chimera looks the wrong way at him. So yeah, that's kind of like the big upside for Harima, definitely. Also, she stacks up the defense pretty similar to Ninja, where he stacks up his attack. Also, another cool thing about Harima is that she's decreasing the defense as well, so that's also pretty cool. I don't know if it would stack with cruelty or not, but I'm just gonna assume so. If I had cruelty on this team, I guess the damage would go up. The biggest difference here that I noticed on Harima is when I used that coronet instead of the cat's gaze, and I think if I would change the Soul Reaper, the Soul Reap blessing to Nature's Wrath, her damage would go way higher. As you can see, the ramp form is basically, for me personally, or for this team, the hardest form to do trials on, because Harima, or like your damage dealer, keeps killing himself over and over again. And like the only way for me basically here to do damage or to get the trials done is to cycle back that revive from Siphi. And because she's reviving with 100% turn meter and buffing that crit rate, I can complete a couple of trials here, or even most of them, if, you know, I get Harima back up enough times, right? So as you can see here, I'm reviving her again, but boom, she's dead again. So that is kind of like the story for all of my damage dealers here on the ramp form. Unless I use Newt. Newt has kind of like this, you know, heal on his A3 where he can heal back up. And with the leech on Chimera, he kind of can survive. But yeah, it's really a hard time here for my damage dealers on the ramp form. But I still managed to do a decent amount of trials. So basically, I'm always using the ally attack here as soon as it's ready, because I need to get the damage done. And as you can see here on the trials number 2, I completed easy and normal, and now I would just have to basically do the last one, but that was a little bit tricky because we need to do a decent amount of damage, and if Harima doesn't have the defense up, she wouldn't deal that much damage. So that was kind of like the big problem here, and really hard to do, because Siphi would revive Harima with 100% and not, you know, take a turn before Harima takes a turn to buff her. I couldn't get it done, so that was like the biggest problem here. But yeah, overall I think it's still good to complete 4 trials on the RAM form with this team. It's really hard to do, and I think 4 trials is good enough. So yeah, on the line form, it was actually pretty easy to do the trials. As always, the line form is the easiest one. Only one thing I have to pay attention to is to keep Arbais in that, you know, second form, so I can place that decreased speed as fast as possible. Here I think it resisted the first time the line form did a hit on my Arbais, but that happens, right? 3% chance is always there and can happen, but as soon as I get the decreased speed going, I swap the forms with Arbais and start boosting turn meter and, you know, increasing the buff durations and all that good stuff. And then basically my damage starts ramping up by a lot. So yeah, as I said, on the line form, the trials, you know, are pretty easy to do. It's basically just use all my skills as much as possible, do as much damage as possible. Nothing really that I have to pay attention to, other than keeping my buffs up. That's basically the main goal here. So yeah, as you can see here, Harima hits for like 800,000, sometimes 900,000, depends on how many debuffs Lydia puts on the Chimera or how many buffs I have on my Harima. But yeah, she starts hitting for like 900,000, 1 million. I think on Ultra Nightmare with the Erratic Coronet, she hit over 1 million, so that was pretty impressive to me. And that's where I realized, okay, the Erratic Coronet is just way better than the Cat's Case here for damage dealers that kind of plays debuffs. That's the better relic for sure. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty impressed by the damage from Harima. Anyway, I always thought that Ninja would kind of like, you know, outperform her pretty easily, but I think because I have my Harima a little bit faster than my Ninja, that also plays like a big part in it. But yeah, she definitely does a lot of damage and can definitely keep up with Ninja. So yeah, we completed another 5 trials on the line form and we go into the Viper form with 9 trials done. Now here, make sure you don't go into this fight with any buffs on your champions, because the Viper form is going to steal it and we want to avoid that, right? Because otherwise we have a problem. So here I'm using the block active skills instantly. So we basically lock out the whole Viper form and now it's just maximum damage again. We need to get as much damage in as possible, or at least that's what I'm trying to do here. That was basically my main goal. I wanted to get more damage this week, get more clash points in total. And surprisingly, I also did a decent amount of trials on the Nightmare difficulty, which was pretty impressive to me as well. I did not expect it, but it worked out pretty well. Yeah, that's like one thing that kind of bothered me a little bit. I couldn't complete one of the trials on the Viper form from the trials number 1. The hard one would give me an additional 3 mythical ocular eye masses, but unfortunately I couldn't do it because the Master Hexer from Lydia always increased the duration of the block active skills and not from the block buffs. If it was the other way around, I would have easily completed the other trial as well and get those 3 mythical ocular masses. But you know, shit happens. Sometimes it doesn't work your way, and I could retry it, you know, until it does happen. But I also don't have an infinite amount of time to go through these things, right? And you know, sometimes you just gotta take what you can get, and I was still pretty, you know, happy with the outcome. And 13 trials already here at turn 28, and it's gonna be 14 trials in the end. I was definitely satisfied. The last trial, the 14th one, I actually completed on the Ram form, and yeah, from there on there was only one more trial that I could do, and that was basically the one on the Viper farm with the block active skills, but it just didn't work out. So yeah, there we go, 14 trials, and that's almost the maximum amount of trials you can do with this team. As I said, the last one, the 15th one, would be the one on the Viper form that I missed, you know, just by basically one Master Hexer proc on the right debuff, but it is what it is. And in the end, you're just trying to get out as much damage as possible. There's not much that you can do but damage, and here we go. 188 million damage, 2.7 billion clash points. Pretty good, to be honest. All my other nightmare teams are teams that I used previously to get like the maximum amount of trials or like mythical ocular masses. There I got like, I don't know, 120 million damage, 130 million damage, way less than this. And I think this is actually a pretty good outcome in terms of trials and damage balance. Let's talk about the gear real quick. I actually talked about it a couple of times, so I'm gonna make it real quick. I have my Mikage in Merciless and Relentless. 326 speed is like the main thing you want to focus on. 400 accuracy. You don't really need a lot of accuracy on Mikage. 400 is perfectly fine for Ultra Nightmare, as well as she's ignoring resistance. I mean, if you have it booked, right? And then just a little bit of survivability, HP and defense. For Arbais, I just have her in like very fast speed gear. I also use one impulse set to get the chance to reduce a random skill cooldown by 1 turn, which is pretty amazing. And then she's at 411 speed and 430 accuracy. She also ignores resistance with her skills, like all mythicals do if they're booked, so you don't have to get crazy amounts of accuracy. Then my Harima, she's in a Savage set and she's at 262 speed, 100% crit rate, 344 crit damage. That is actually not accurate. I mean, that's what I used for the Nightmare run, but if I had the option, I would change this relic, the Cast Gaze, to Irethi's Coronet, and that way she would deal way more damage. It's not even a question, but I was aiming for like 350 accuracy. She's sitting at 364, which is totally fine. We also have the increased accuracy buff from Arbais, and that way we can maintain that decreased attack. Also, we can maintain it with Lady Mikage's deep buff extension, so you don't have to place the decreased attack every time she does the A1. But also the blessing is not ideal. I would definitely change that to Nature's Wrath to get an additional 15% damage here on a 5-star blessing. If you have a 6-star Harima, you can get even 30% more damage, which is basically what the Irethi Coronet does as well. And then I have Helm Smasher on her. Then my Lydia is still in a 9-piece Feral set, as always. 294 speed. I almost know these stats now from the top of my head. 62k HP, 5.4k defense, 520 accuracy. As I said, always this accuracy stat is mainly for Ultra Nightmare. You have to go that high for Ultra Nightmare, but for Nightmare you can definitely go way lower, like 450 for example. I have absolutely no relic on her. Brimstone is very good, gets you a lot more damage, additional damage, but also it works well with the 9-piece set bonus from the Feral set that allies deal 5% more damage for each debuff placed by wearer, and that counts as well for the Brimstone. And I have War Master, Master Hexa and Lasting Gifts on her. Also, my Siphi is in a 9-piece protection set, or was in a 9-piece protection set for that run. 77k HP, 4.6k defense, 371 speed and 408 resistance. Doesn't really matter that much. If you can't hit the resistance, that's fine. It does help a little bit. I have Journal of Necrotos on Siphi and Arbais, and basically all of my speed boosters. It just adds a little bit more turn meter increase to the skills. I have all of my champions completely booked. Intimidating Presence definitely helps for PvE content as well. And then I have Lasting Gifts, and I also went with extra resistance here, but it doesn't really matter that much for Chimera. So there we go. On the RAM form, we were able to collect 2 mythical ocular eye masses on the trials number 1. But here, to do this trial, to get these 2 mythical crafting materials, you need to deplete the Chimera's dual bar within 5 turns. And I actually never did that, so impossible for me at least. I don't know if anybody can do it, but yeah, this trial is not ideal, definitely. I did complete trials number 1, easy and normal, and on trials number 2 I did easy, normal, and hard. On the Lime forum there were actually as well 3 mythical ocular masses, but also very hard to get. You need to bring block damage or unkillable, and I don't have either in my team, so that was also impossible for me with this team. But I pretty much completed 5 trials here. I did the easy one on trials number 1, easy, normal, and hard on trials number 2, and easy on trials number 3. And last but not least, there were another 5 mythical ocular eye masses here on the Viper form, which are actually the easiest ones to get, to be honest. You just need to have the RNG on your side a little bit. And yeah, so you need to have block buffs and HP burn and then damage the Chimera. While it has no active buffs, that trial will reward you 2 ocular masses, the mythical ones, and then the hard trial here is the one where you need to have 9 or more debuffs on the Viper form without block active skills, and that would reward you 3 mythical ocular masses. I actually got only 2 this time, but it's definitely possible to do with this team. You just need to have the RNG on your side. The key factor is here definitely Master Hexer on Lydia. You can also do it in other ways if you use a toxic set, for example, and just fill up the debuff bar while there's no block active skills. But I would not prefer that, because sometimes you would fill up the debuff bar when you don't want to do that. So on the Viper form, we did the easy one from trials number 1 and the normal one, and the hard one was the one that we were missing, but it would be possible to do that. And with that missing trial, it's a total amount of 15 trials that you can complete here. And then on the trials number 3, I completed the easy and the normal one. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it for this video. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, also leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And if you have any questions about this team, or if you want to replace some of these champions, there are definitely options. I can't ensure you that it will work as well as this team composition. You probably would have to swap some things around, but I think there are definitely options. You just have to use like similar champions, right? And try to maintain the same buffs. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with this team. And as I said, I'm also basically using the same team with just a few variations. So on different affinities, if I would face a spirit affinity, I would swap out Harima for Ninja, but then I would also need decreased attack again, because Harima has a decreased attack, and then I would have to swap out Arbais for Nekmotar, for example. He's very similar to Arbais in this specific role here. He has the Termita boost, and he has a decreased speed and the leech. Also, he brings a decreased attack. So yeah, it's kind of like a puzzle you have to figure out, but I think once you get going and you find something, it becomes really fun to play around with. So yeah guys, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and with that being said, see you in the next one.